My parents threw my kids into the basement for their favorite grandson. I walked in, smiled, and said, "Pack your bags." They had no clue what I was about to do. 2 years ago, my world turned upside down. My husband David and I split after 12 years of marriage. I don't think I'll ever forget the way my heart sank when we signed those divorce papers. It wasn't just the end of a relationship, it was the end of the life I'd built. We'd leaned on David's income as a software engineer while I worked part-time as a nurse to raise our twins. Suddenly, I was a single mom with shared custody, barely any alimony, and the pressure to work full-time to keep a roof over our heads. I felt like I was drowning, trying to figure out how to be enough for Jack and Emma while keeping it all together. That's when my parents, Martha and Richard, stepped in. "Come stay with us," my dad said, clapping me on the shoulder like it was the easiest decision in the world. "Just until you're back on your feet." I was so grateful I could have cried. My relationship with my parents had always been complicated, let's say. Growing up, I was the good kid, the one who followed the rules, worked hard, and put myself through nursing school to specialize in pediatrics because I love helping kids. My younger brother, Stephen, though, he was the golden child, dropped out of college, started a tech business with my parents' money, and now he's pulling six figures at 32. I'd gotten so used to their favoritism that I barely noticed it anymore. Or at least I thought I had. Moving in with my parents felt like a lifeline. They turned their home office into a bedroom for Jack and Emma, and I took the guest room. My twins are the best. Jack's my sensitive artist, always sketching or building something, and Emma's my bold little athlete, ready to call out anything unfair. They were handling the divorce and the move like champs, still doing well in school despite everything. I threw myself into my 12-hour shifts at the Children's Hospital, sometimes working overnights, and my parents helped with school runs when I needed them. I chipped in for groceries, cooked most of the meals, and made sure the kids respected my parents' space. The plan was simple: save enough for a deposit and first month's rent on our own place within a year. I was determined to give my kids stability again, even if the housing market was brutal. For a while, things were okay. I took every extra shift I could, stashing away every penny. I even started a savings chart on my bathroom wall so Jack and Emma could see our progress. "Just a few more months," I'd tell them, "and we'll have our own place by Christmas." But then, everything changed. My brother Stephen and his wife Melissa had their baby boy Ethan, and it was like a switch flipped in my parents' house. Now, don't get me wrong, I was thrilled for Stephen and Melissa. A new baby is a big deal, and Ethan was their first. But my parents, they went all in. They turned their formal dining room into a nursery for Ethan, even though Stephen and Melissa had their own four-bedroom house across town. They bought fancy baby gear that probably cost more than my car payment. My mom started canceling plans to help with Jack and Emma if Stephen needed anything. "Your brother's new to parenting," she'd say, like I hadn't been a single mom for 2 years already. At first, I tried to be understanding. Babies need a lot, right? And Ethan was their first grandson. Jack and Emma had been their only grandkids for a decade, so maybe my parents were just caught up in the newness. I told my kids to be patient, to be kind. "Ethan's little," I'd say. "He needs extra attention." But the favoritism started to pile up in ways I couldn't ignore. Christmas gifts for Ethan were flashy and expensive, while Jack and Emma got practical stuff. My mom would gush about how Ethan looked just like Stephen as a baby, but Jack and Emma, they were always compared to their dad, like they didn't quite measure up. I did my best to shield my kids. We'd have movie nights in my room, go to the park on my days off, anything to carve out our own space. But the tension in that house was like a slow poison. My parents started nitpicking my parenting, my kids' bedtimes, their screen time, even what I fed them. Meanwhile, Stephen and Melissa could do no wrong. They'd show up late for family dinners or cancel last minute, and my parents would just smile and say, "Oh, new parents." I was walking a tightrope, trying to keep the peace while saving for our escape. I needed their help. I couldn't afford childcare and rent at the same time. By late summer, I was so close to my goal. I'd calculated I'd have enough for a modest two-bedroom apartment by November. Just 3 more months, I told myself. 3 more months of biting my tongue, of watching my parents dote on Ethan while barely noticing Jack's art projects or Emma's soccer goals. but I had no idea how much worse it was about to get. In September, Stephen called a family meeting. He and Melissa sat at my parents' kitchen table, Ethan bouncing on her knee in an outfit that probably cost more than my weekly grocery budget. "We've got big news," Stephen said, grinning at my parents. "We're finally doing that major renovation on our house." My mom clapped her hands like it was the best thing she'd ever heard. Then Melissa dropped the bombshell. "We'll need somewhere to stay during construction. 6 to 8 weeks tops." Before I could even process it, my dad was nodding. "You'll stay here, of course. We've got plenty of room." I cleared my throat. Actually, we're already pretty tight with 5 of us. My mom shot me a look that could have frozen water. "Family helps family, Amanda. It's temporary." And that was it. No one asked how I felt. No one considered what this meant for Jack and Emma. No one seemed to remember that my stay was supposed to be temporary too, and here we were, almost 2 years later. Stephen and Melissa moved in that weekend. My dad helped them set up a portable crib for Ethan, something he'd never offered for my kids' beds. My mom cleared an entire closet for Melissa's clothes, while my stuff had been in suitcases for months before I bought a cheap dresser. The changes hit hard and fast. Jack and Emma were told to keep quiet because Ethan's napping. Their toys, already confined to their room in a corner of the living room, were suddenly clutter and boxed up. The TV, which the twins used to watch for an hour after school, was now Melissa's personal streaming service. One night I came home from a brutal shift to find Emma sitting alone on the back porch, her eyes red. "What's wrong, honey?" I asked, sitting beside her. "Grandma said I was too loud with my jump rope," she sniffled. But Ethan wasn't even sleeping. She just didn't want to hear me counting. That same week, Jack came home thrilled about an art project chosen for a district exhibition. He tried to show my mom, but she brushed him off. "Not now, Jack. I'm helping Melissa pick curtains." I watched my son's face fall, and something inside me broke. I tried talking to my parents that night. "I'm worried about how Jack and Emma are being treated," I said carefully. "They feel like they're not important anymore." My dad frowned. "They're being oversensitive. Babies need more attention." "Ethan's in daycare most of the day," I pointed out. "Jack and Emma aren't asking for attention then." My mom sighed like I was the problem. "You've always been jealous of Stephen, Amanda. I thought you'd outgrown that." I was speechless. Jealous? I was fighting for my kids, not competing with my brother. Things got worse. Melissa rearranged my kitchen without asking, complained about the healthy snacks I bought for the twins, and left her laundry in the washer for days. Stephen acted like he owned the place, hosting watch parties without checking if we had plans. I overheard him and my dad talking about extending their renovation, maybe staying through the holidays. "This is your home too," my dad said warmly. I'd never heard those words directed at me. The breaking point came at a Sunday dinner in early October. My mom made all of Stephen's favorite foods, none of which my kids liked. When Jack politely asked for something else, she snapped, "When I was growing up, we ate what was put in front of us." Later, Ethan threw his entire plate on the floor, and everyone laughed. "He's just exploring," Melissa said, not bothering to clean it up. Jack whispered to me, "How come Ethan can throw food, but I can't ask for a sandwich?" I had no answer. Then I found out someone, Melissa it turned out, had taken down Jack and Emma's artwork from the fridge to make room for Ethan's daycare schedule and photos. "I didn't think anyone would mind," she said when I asked. My kids started avoiding the common areas, retreating to their tiny shared bedroom. I began taking them to the library after school just to give them a space where they weren't shushed or criticized. A coworker, Nancy, noticed I was struggling. "Everything okay at home?" she asked one day. I spilled everything, and she listened without judgment. "Your parents have made their house a place where Stephen's family is the guest of honor, and you and your kids are inconvenient roommates," she said. It hit me like a ton of bricks. She was right. That night, I called a realtor friend. "I need to get my kids out of this," I told her, "sooner rather than later." By mid-October, things were unbearable. Stephen and Melissa's renovation was now indefinitely delayed, and my parents were still catering to them. They bought a $400 high chair for Ethan, but grumbled about the cost of Jack's asthma meds. When Emma tried practicing her clarinet, Melissa stormed in, saying it was disturbing Ethan's nap and her work call. Emma can practice her little hobby anytime, she said dismissively. My daughter was devastated. She'd missed a virtual band practice because of it. Jack was struggling too. His teacher emailed me, worried about his withdrawal and slipping grades. I'm scared of doing anything wrong at home, he told me one night. Grandma and Grandpa never get mad at Ethan or Uncle Stephen. I took on more shifts, both to save money and to avoid the toxic atmosphere. But my parents saw it as me shirking responsibilities, while Stephen and Melissa were happy to have me out of the way. The final straw came on a Tuesday in late October. I was in the middle of a chaotic shift when I saw missed text from Jack and Emma. Mom, they're moving our stuff to the basement, Jack wrote. Grandma says we have to move down there. It's not fair, Emma added. The basement is cold and gross and there are spiders. My heart pounded. The basement was unfinished, damp, with mold in one corner. Dangerous for Jack's asthma. I called home, but no one answered. I begged my supervisor to cover my last 4 hours, and the drive home felt endless. When I walked in, Jack and Emma were on the couch, eyes red from crying. My mom and Melissa were sipping tea in the kitchen like nothing was wrong. Why are my kids' things in the basement? I demanded. Melissa shrugged. We needed space for Ethan's nursery and my home office. My mom chimed in. It's logical, Amanda. The kids are older, they can adapt. Our other grandson deserves the best rooms. I was floored. The basement has mold, I said. Jack has asthma. It's not a legal bedroom. My mom waved it off. You're being dramatic. It's perfectly fine. My dad and Stephen walked in, backing her up. The basement's fine, my dad said. I put in some lights and carpet scraps. Stephen added, kids are resilient. I looked at these 4 adults, none of them seeing what they'd done to my children. In that moment, I knew we couldn't stay. I went to Jack and Emma, who were watching me with such trust. I smiled and said, pack your bags. They looked confused, but I nodded. Trust me, pack what's important. My dad overheard and scoffed. Stop being dramatic, Amanda. No one's asking you to leave. No, I said, still smiling. You've made it clear where we stand, and we deserve better. My mom tried to guilt me. You can't just leave. Stephen called it a scene, but I was calm, certain. This is about respect, I told them. You moved my kids to an unsafe space without asking. You told them they don't deserve what Ethan does. We're done. As we packed, my parents and Stephen cycled through anger, guilt trips, and disbelief. Where will you go? My mom asked as we loaded the car. Somewhere my kids are valued, I said simply. In the rearview mirror, I saw Jack and Emma looking back at the house, not with sadness, but relief. Are we really moving to our own house? Jack asked. Almost, I said. We've got a place waiting, but tonight we're staying with my friend Nancy. Nancy welcomed us with open arms, an air mattress for the kids, and ice cream waiting. I'm proud of you, she told me. It takes courage to set boundaries with family. That night, as my kids slept beside me, I felt peace for the first time in years. We'd done it. We'd walked away. The next day, we went back for our things. My parents were defensive, my mom tearful, my dad accusing me of overreacting. This is about Stephen, isn't it? He said. No, I corrected. This is about my kids being told they're less than their cousin. I faced my dad directly. I make $65,000 a year. I've saved for 2 years. I signed a lease 3 weeks ago. Their stunned silence felt like a small victory. We moved into our new house a week later, a small 3-bedroom with a tiny backyard and a sunny kitchen. Friends and coworkers helped, turning moving day into a celebration. That night, eating pizza in our new living room, I let myself cry, not from sadness, but from relief. We'd made it. 6 months later, our little house is a home. Jack's art is back on the fridge. Emma's practicing her clarinet, and they're both thriving. I got a promotion to charge nurse, with better hours and pay. My parents and I are slowly rebuilding, with boundaries. They've started to see the favoritism, though it's a work in progress. Stephen and Melissa, they're struggling without the support they took for granted, but that's their journey. The biggest win? My kids. Emma said it best one night as I tucked her in. I like our house, Mom. I feel like I can breathe here. That's everything to me. So that's my story. If you've ever had to make a tough call to protect your family, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Hit that thumbs up if this hit home, and subscribe for more stories about finding strength in the hardest moments. Thanks for listening, and here's to creating the life you and your loved ones deserve.